Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding this hearing today. Thank you all for coming to testify before the Homeland Security, Counterterrorism, and Intelligence Subcommittee. The threat picture Americans face is constantly changing, and with the development of AI and the use of the internet, any small group can have a relatively high impact on any given population. Dr. Aaron Zellen, I know you've written about online mobilization of foreign fighters, and to counter that, the U.S. has taken some steps through blacklisting some terror groups from posting online. According to Adam Hadley, the executive director of Tech Against Terrorism, who gave an interview to Wired magazine, big tech platforms have worked hard to create databases of known violent extremist content known as hashing databases, which are shared across platforms to quickly and automatically remove such content from the internet. Are any of the witnesses familiar with the industry term hashing sites?
Yes, I am.
Or groups to create a censorship database to prevent bad actors from spreading misinformation from terror groups. My question is this: how would you recommend the committee evaluate the balance between freedom of speech and the need to protect the public from terror groups using AI to conduct deepfakes?
That's a good question. Thank you for raising it. I would judge it in two ways. The first one is whether the deepfake poses an immediate threat. In some cases, deepfakes can be created, designed specifically to incite. For example, we've seen deadly riots overseas based on Quran desecration. Something like that would have a purpose of trying to incite. In cases like that, I think that legislative efforts are important. There are other areas that were referenced before, such as deepfake pornography and the like, where I think, again, there is a strong impetus for the legislature to step in order to stop harm for individuals. That's essentially where I would say the line is drawn with respect to deepfakes. I think there's other ways to deal with propaganda deepfakes, because ultimately there is a purpose for deepfakes, right? Deepfakes can be used for cinema and the like. There's a reason why people create them. They're not just pure harm, but harm to the individual, I think, is the area where the legislature can come in and should be able to have a strong hand.
Thank you. Dr. David Garstein-Ross, extremist groups are becoming more tech-savvy. Former Google Chief Executive Officer Eric Schmidt highlighted his worry during a February 13th, 2025 hearing with the BBC. He said there is extreme risk posed by AI development that could harm innocent people. In his opinion, countries like Russia, North Korea, and Iraq have ulterior motives and could misuse emerging technologies for their own purposes. My question is the correct balance for the tech companies and government that take into account the need for freedom of these companies to develop AI and the government's interest in protecting the public from deepfakes and AI-generated images that stir panic?
It's another great question. A lot of these are difficult to answer because of the fact that it's a balance. But I'd say that this is also understood in light of an AI competition between US companies and PRC-led companies. And ultimately, most people looking at it, including Mr. Schmidt, who you mentioned, believe that the country that's able to win the AI race is also going to be the global leader. So I think there's a lot invested. I'd also say, as I mentioned in my opening statement, that right now, the safeguards that are put in place, even by very responsible companies, are extraordinarily easy to jailbreak and to get around.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Braddock, on March 24th, 2023, you were quoted in Business Insider saying, "If there is violence as a result of Trump's words, the former president will hide under a blanket of plausible deniability, saying that he never ordered anyone to become violent." Did you say that?
Probably.
My question is this: you are extremely critical of Republicans through what you call stochastic terrorism, inciting terrorism through volatile rhetoric, and what you deem as extremist rhetoric. But when Democrats incite violence, you seem to be a little bit silent. My colleague who just left, Dan Goldman, said Trump is dangerous to democracy and that he has to be eliminated. Did you speak out or criticize Mr. Goldman when he said that? We couldn't find anything.
I was never ever heard that quote.
Okay, how about this? Hold on.
Examples of when I did speak out.
Nor did you, when Maxine Waters said, tone down the rhetoric when she encountered protesters in Minnesota to get more confrontational, encouraging Democrats to confront Trump officials if they see them in public. Did you say anything about that one?
I did.
You did? Well, can you provide that for the committee, please?
During conferences and stuff, sure.
Yeah, can I have one more quick question? How about this one? President Biden on October 23rd, 2024, who said, we got to lock him up, or that Trump was a threat to democracy right before numerous assassination attempts. Did you say anything about that one?
No, that wouldn't meet my threshold.
We got to lock him up? That doesn't reach your threshold?
No.
Okay. Thank you. I yield back.
Gentleman's